settings.
Myers, Deborah Hoskins,
I don't know why it's doing that.
Christina McCormick.
I don't know why.
Hello. Welcome to another edition of The Righteous View. Welcome to The Righteous View. It's been a while since we've been on. We are on the air, right?
And let me make sure because it's
I can see it says on the air on top. And it says live, and it's at 1 minute and 57.892 minutes.
Okay.
So we're live. We ready?
Yeah, we're live.
Hey. Yes, we are live. And we are, I'm Avia Byers. We are The Righteous View. We focus our weekly podcast. We'll focus on topics regarding women of all ages. As I always say, our mission is to foster righteous and open dialogue on topics that have been taboo within our social communities. We want to cultivate open and healthy discussion between mothers and daughters, husbands and wives, mature women and young women. Our goal is to educate and provide factual information to these demographics concerning our biological, physiological, psychological, and spiritual experience. So, introducing my host, Christina McCormick, and her prophetess Deborah Hoskins. Okay, sorry. Tonight, we are going to have an open discussion highlighting our trip to South Africa. If you have been following us and watching, you know that we were all in South Africa together, and we were there for about 12 days? We 15. Were there 15 days. So we're going to just highlight some points. But if you have any questions that we don't cover this evening, please put them in the chat so we can bring them out and we can answer, those questions for you. So I guess we're going to jump right in and start this discussion on let's share about our experiences and the people. We're going to start off with that. Our experience with the people and the culture there. Who wants to go first?
You want one of y'all to go first?
Go ahead. Go ahead, Deborah.
Oh, me? Oh my goodness. I was hoping one of y'all would go first, but however, it was a great experience. I'll just kind of start off a little bit and I'll let y'all and I'll come back in. But as far as the culture, I was pleasantly surprised of
Mhm.
the culture. How, I knew that it was, that it was somewhat modern and how would I say, well, the culture in itself, they're it's so much a lot similar to us in one aspect, as far as modernization and different things and technology and different and even their infrastructure and so forth.
Mhm.
It was really, really beautiful, and even, I find that they are a lot of like their dress and even the stores and different things. I found it to be very somewhat um um Western type, westernized in a sense. But I found that they were very um well, how would I say, very pleasant, very accommodating, very kind, very helpful, and finding that, just our accent and so forth, they knew that, we were probably from the States. And it wasn't like, oh, but very wow, and just somewhat inquisitive. But I found that they, were just um very, very, really nice. And then their culture, finding out a lot of regarding their history, I found it to be a lot of what our during civil rights and so forth, of what we in the States here had gone through, was a lot similar as far as apartheid with them there. But how they're very much I hate to say proud, but very someone help me out. I'm trying to think of
That's a good word. I think
yeah,
that's a good word. They're
proud,
very
proud,
proud of
proud of their
culture.
heritage, proud of their accomplishments. How
Absolutely.
very
Yes.
proud of their accomplishments, of what they have accomplished, and listening to some, some being aware of what transpired here in the state, gave them incentives of really going, the extra mile. But the wonderful thing that I loved with them is that not only proud and of their accomplishment, but understanding that they don't feel that they have fully arrived. You know what I'm saying? But they
Right.
know that it's the struggle's still there, but
Right.
they're like, we learned a whole lot about Nelson Mandela. I mean, he's
Mm.
even on money, he's everywhere. I mean, we know that he's passed and gone on, but they are very proud not only of their accomplishment of, but Nelson Mandela and those who paved the way.
Yeah.
And it
Yes.
wasn't just people of color, it was
Mhm.
an international thing. Even those who were not
Hmm.
of dark persuasion, I would say,
Yeah.
even understood and even had the respect that we don't see here in the States.
That's
That
right.
really gave me a sense of, wow, they're really, we can even learn from them in the aspect of their somewhat of a unity even, you know
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
and and then we see that there are people, it's not just people of color. You see people of other persuasions, other nations, other color, of other ethnicity, I would say, but not even ethnicity, because some are South Africans, but
Mhm.
they have a respect for those of color because of their, not only their struggle, but the sense of pride that they have,
In
and a
innovation.
dignity,
Right.
sense
Right.
of dignity. That's, you know, a sense of dignity of, I understand the struggle and I know that we're still in the fight, but you know, still in it, and
Right.
not like trying to pull one another down or make light, but really I just was just very impressed. I would say
Mhm.
truly impressed with a lot. And then their demeanor is just sweet. I mean, you know, and even some, you know, even though the language was predominantly, you know, they spoke English, but they do have a dialect. We've seen the Zulu, you know,
Zulu.
certain things that they say, you know, they're sweet. But it was just I loved it. I loved it. You know, y'all can throw in some other things will come to me. But I was truly impressed as with the culture, with the people, and even when we went to Zimbabwe, was it Zimbabwe? No, Soweto, not Zimbabwe. Soweto. And there, you know, we went to Nelson Mandela's home, and just the people who we met, the surrounding people, very loving, very caring,
Yeah.
very
Mhm.
togetherness. And you know, and I've heard otherwise, but that's not what we see. That's
Right.
not what I seen. And that's not even, I felt like I was at home with them.
Mhm.
Certain people I met, like we met Mabel. I mean, man,
Yes,
she invited
Mabel.
me to come to her home, and she just felt like a real sister, you know, like, you know, a beautiful people. And I mean, even to the point, not just helpful, but like, hey, we're brothers, we're sisters, we're you know, we're one. And it wasn't just about word of mouth. I felt it in them. I you know, and it was just wonderful. It wasn't like, oh, because they want money from you. Because I mean, I've been to other countries, I've been places where they'll talk a good talk, but they want the money from you. But that's not what I felt.
Right.
It was genuine to me.
And remember with Mabel, when I thought I lost my
Ring.
diamond
That's right.
ring, and I called Mabel, contacted her, and said, Mabel, please, can you go over? She went up to the
Yes, she
Mandela
did.
house,
Yes,
looked
she did.
around, asked around if anybody saw. I told her what it looked like. She went up, she came back, and she was like, Madame, I did not know about, no one has seen it. She said, and either someone has seen it and they picked it up and you probably will never see it again, unfortunately. And then I found it fell out my pocket underneath one of my shoes in the wardrobe when I found it, and I was like, hallelujah, I found my ring. So I contacted Mabel and told her, praise Father Yah, I found my ring. But she did not have to do that. She didn't have
Did
to
not.
go.
Did not.
She said, walking up there now, I'm walking up there right now to see. And, let me ask around. I'll call you back. And she did.
Yeah.
And
And
this is not a young woman.
No.
no,
Was
Mabel was
not
in
a
her.
young woman. She was older than I am.
Yeah.
Yes,
True.
absolutely. So there is definitely a feeling of servanthood. Um, the Tina, you want to go next?
You know, speaking of that, remember when Rabbi lost his phone?
That was
Yes.
something else. Yes, yes.
Oh wow,
I
yes.
forgot about that. That was something.
How
Yes.
long a time was that? That they
2 hours, over 2 hours away.
It sure was. And the gentleman, he said he had to come into Johannesburg, but he brought a phone.
brought the
He got
phone.
that phone. He said he found it. And he was like, "Oh, these are the people, the
Yes.
American people that was here." It was like, "Oh my goodness!" He sure did. He left his phone on the truck.
Yeah.
On the
uh,
truck when we went to the safari.
Safari.
They didn't
Yeah.
take
And he even got my number from the Safari people to
Sure
call
did.
me to let us know that he had the phone, and not that we had to even go where he came all the way to Johannesburg and didn't want anything in return. Now you tell me.
And found, yeah, we told them where we were staying, and he came and brought that phone right over to our place. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was, and then
That
when
was
we
sad.
got to the airport, how they treated, me and Prophetess, they made her. That boy was not satisfied till she sat down in that wheelchair.
Put me in the wheelchair, rolled me all over. He says,
But he was not,
I mean, and he was just, they was, I mean, they just,
he was not. They at that airport, they were not playing. What I noticed, they don't play about their elders. Like they just do
they don't.
Oh
play
no,
about
they really don't.
at
Yeah.
all.
Yeah,
And I'm like, it's 2026, and over in our culture, it's totally different. And the way that they had honor and respect, and then they even helped me. Like
That's
they
right.
found my luggage pretty
The
quick.
luggage.
They found that pretty quick.
Yes.
And
would
they
tell
were
you
not
about
going to stop until they found it. They were determined to find that luggage.
That
Like,
right now.
it's not on our watch. We're going to find that luggage. And I mean, and they expedited that.
Come
It
on.
was just amazing. I didn't even believe that they would even find it. And sure enough, they did. I mean, it was just amazing. And they didn't know us. And we just arrived there.
Yeah.
We had just arrived there.
Yeah. And there were moments like that because people say, well, they do that to get money. No, it wasn't
They
that.
didn't even take nothing.
Times, especially that time that I talked about y'all in the mall. But that little security,
that was so funny.
he was working with us until we, got to where we could find y'all, and he stayed with us. And then we saw him in the mall again. And he didn't take nothing. So
And he was like, hey.
yeah, he knew us like we were the stars of the mall.
I said, oh yeah. I was helping y'all. Oh,
When I was in Woolworths, and y'all were at, y'all were somewhere. I think y'all were downstairs in the food section or wherever. I was upstairs because I mean the Woolworths is like a Macy's. That's
it's like Macy's, right?
I mean, they have top of the line. It's not Woolworths that we do years ago. It was like a Macy's.
It's Macy's, right?
And the gentleman, when I asked them, to get to where y'all were at, he says, "Oh, well, you can take the lift, and lifts are elevators. They call elevators lifts." And this one person said, and the other gentleman said, "No. I will take you to them." He says, "No, I don't want you to get lost. If you go there, you're going to come out." He took me. I mean, he escorted me all the way to make sure. And he says, if we take the escalator, it would bring me right to where, and surely he didn't have to do that. And he says, "Oh, I just got to do, can you come with?" And I went. So me going with him, because he worked in the perfume department, and then I smelled the perfume. I said, "Ooh, I like that." I wound up getting it. But it wasn't that he was trying to sell something. He was really but he was working. So you got to respect him because he's on the job. Right. But he went out of his way to escort me to make sure that I got to the destination, got to the location where I was able to meet y'all. I thought that was just phenomenal. That was just wonderful. Who does that?
Yeah.
In Africa.
I know, and that's a shame. We Americans like, dang, and they treat people don't know. People really don't know what we go through over here.
We're going to talk about those, those comparisons within the, the different countries visited. But there is a common characteristic amongst Africans that they're just really
they have
trying to help.
Heart of servitude.
They want to help. They want to help, and they want you to allow them to help you. So they won't just say, "Oh yeah, it's over there on our." Come, madam. Come, mom. Come. I will take you to it. they want to be able to, help you. So that is a common theme in Africa, and it's just beautiful. It's a loving, and it makes you feel like, oh, like exhale, like, oh, this is so nice. But yeah. So Tina, go ahead. You were
And
gonna
I
start.
think
Can I just say one other thing? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Tim. I don't want to.
that's okay.
They're very engaging. When I say engaging,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they like to engage conversation with you. Like
Mhm.
they want to know, just as we want to know their history and different things. They are very interested in wanting to know, and I mean genuinely wanting to know certain things about your culture and different things in the States. And just pleasant, and so when he says, yeah, I really want to come, but not like they, like, oh, I just want to go and I see, but just engaging, and just, it was just beautiful. I'm sorry, I just wanted to say that.
No, but to your point, that's what I was gonna say. Like South Africa is a blended with different cultures, and when you
Correct.
visit and you actually talk to the people, okay,
Right.
you're not just going,
Right.
as a tourist, I guess, but you're actually engaging with the locals. You'll find there's a difference between them and us as Black Americans with this point that their fight for freedom wasn't just so they could be free. It
Right.
was to establish South Africa as a
South
place for
Africa be free. Right.
we want Black Americans. We want our freedom because
Right.
we have
Right.
this mentality
Right.
because we've been over here
Right.
so long and it has rubbed
That's
off on us.
that separatism,
Yes,
that separatism attitude.
that's what we have.
Yeah,
And they
absolutely.
don't have that. They have we fight for freedom for everybody. And
That's right.
so,
We're
they
all Africans, and that's what they say. We're all
Right.
South Africans.
That's it. And
Mhm.
just listening to different ideologies about Nelson Mandela. Once I left there, because you always got to go to the source, like they try to talk about our civil rights leaders and everything else. And I'm like, man, I am so glad that I am not millennials or what's the other one, Alpha and Gen Zs, because they are really losing respect for people who have fought for their right to be able to get online and talk
Mhm.
crap.
Mhm.
And they really don't know the magnitude. The person is going to be a human being with flaws. But what they've done is something that we haven't seen since that time. And to
Right.
see what he had done and then winning Mandela, like it was just phenomenal. So you have to go yourself and you have to learn history for yourself. A lot of the younger generations is getting history off of TikTok and YouTube. And I understand this is the age of information. But when you actually go to the places and you talk to the people that were involved, you take away something greater than what's written down in the textbooks.
Correct.
Because the person who's writing it down is going to control the narrative. But you can get more insight when you go to that place. Like my grandmother marched with Dr. King on Hope in Montgomery, Alabama. You're not going to tell me that the whole civil rights movement was just a ploy or whatever Black stuff we come up with. My grandmother marched because she believed in the civil rights for especially the future generation, right? Because
Right.
we basically just got the right to vote.
Correct.
Seriously, like if you really think about it. So
That's right.
I like going to places, talking to the natives, because every country from a Black American's perspective, something's wrong with it, and that's our trauma.
Right.
Going around the
Of course.
world. I mean,
Right.
even white folks over here,
Right.
going around the world. There's a whole thing going around on TikTok where, people are getting really tired of Americans, i.e., white Americans specifically, and the way we go around the world and the way we interact and come back. And America is on the chopping block right now with the war and everything. And it's just like a bright light is on America. And I'm like, I don't want to be that American that goes around with that attitude. So we know that South Africa has people that don't want to be bothered. They got attitudes. That's everywhere you go. But overall,
I just dealt with somebody like that the other day.
They everywhere. But overall,
everywhere you go.
That like come to New York in America, see what attitude you get. You're gonna get that attitude.
Absolutely.
Yorkers got
absolutely. You will get
watch it.
You will get New York. You will get people. The kindest people I have met in the world was in New York, and some of the most horrible people I have met my whole life was in New York. So you can get a real, some people I am still friends with, I still talk to, they impacted my life, are New Yorkers. It was beautiful. And so you get people are people everywhere you go, everywhere. And even with, talking about South African, I'm sorry, Tina.
I'm done.
Talking about South Africa, the thing that I really, really loved about them is the cohesiveness of the people. That they have a cohesive existence amongst the people there that I do not see in the United States. So it doesn't compare. South Africa cannot be compared with the United States. Number one, at least South Africa is owning that garbage that they did. Remember when we visited the apartheid? So we're going to go into places. Let's just go into that. The places we visited and the landscape of the countries, of the country. We visited the apartheid museum. There was us, and there was only a couple of other Black people in there. All of the rest of them were white.
Hello.
And they didn't all speak. Some of them were speaking Afrikaans. Some they sound like they may have been Dutch or German, kind of Slovak sounding languages. But it was more white people in there in the apartheid museum learning about the apartheid than there was Black. Let's flip it and go to the United States.
Yep.
I didn't see, when we first went to the African American Museum, there was not one white person in there.
That's right.
Not one. It's like, oh, that's the museum for the Black people. No, it's like Trevor Noah said. Trevor Noah just did great stand-up. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Y'all should watch that. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
He's in Washington, D.C. It is hilarious. But he goes into his visiting the African American Museum in Washington. And he says, yes, everyone could go. It's open to everyone, white people too. And he's saying that because when you go in there, you don't see white people. It's like, for some reason, when the movie Roots came out, I remember going to work and white people saying, oh yeah, that's not really a movie for us to watch. No, Joker, you need to watch it. That's your history too. That's what your great-great-granddaddy did to our people. So yes, you need to watch it. We need to all watch it. That's part of our history. And that's the thing that I loved about South Africa. They own their garbage. Yeah. Now they did their stuff, but guess what? At least they're owning it. And the thing that what is really beautiful is that they're truthful about it. And they said, we're only about 25%.
Right.
We're not all the way there. And I spoke to people who were not just Black South Africans, but some that were white South Africans. And a gentleman was standing in the salon, and he wasn't Black. And he said, yeah, we're not like the United States. He said, you can't compare us to them. He said, we have our issues and we have our problems, but we work through it because you know what? We're all South Africans.
That's right.
No matter what color we are.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. So when I hear people say, well, if I move to South Africa, I might as well stay in the US. Bomb.
Right.
Go for yourself. Experience the people. Even when we were shopping, you know, we talked about Woolworths being like Macy's. So
Right.
it would be like Macy's with groceries, with a grocery store on the
Yes.
bottom. So we're in there and we are moving around all different kinds of people. You know, they have a high population of Indian, Lebanese, Chinese, Asian, and then white, and then you know, your indigenous people there, Black people, South Africans, and they're just that's the only word I can that helps me relate what they are. Cohesive. There was a cohesiveness to how they moved amongst each other. You are going, let's just be real truthful. Anywhere you go in the world, most times white race, the white race is going to feel like they are superior. They just have a thing about that. They feel like white is right, their skin is better, you know, all of this. They've been afforded more than other races of people. So therefore, it looks like they're smarter, they're better, they're, like Trump would say, they're huge, they're just everything good, you know, but it's just because they've been afforded the opportunities that not all of the other races have been afforded. But as we were moving around those people, I didn't get any attitude. We spoke to white Africans. We spoke to some people who were from Europe and they're, you know, traveling. And they were just, I mean, people were just friendly.
They were
Just friendly. I mean, and it was an experience where you could feel, you know, the camaraderie. And I'm sure that there's, you know, issues. Look, there's issues in every country. We live in a country right now where there's big issues. Every country has issues. Yeah. You know, they're trying to get their water together. They're trying to get their light system. They're trying to get their roads and their infrastructure together. So everywhere you go, there's going to be those issues. There's going to the social differences, from the wealthy, the rich, to those who are not rich, the poor. I mean, it's like that everywhere you go. So you will have people moving around in certain circles that other people wouldn't move in. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have to really look at that. But that is what I loved about South Africa, was that it was the camaraderie of the people. And let me tell you, this was really good. I think we even relate better with the South, being African American, with the South Africans, because our struggle was so alike.
Right.
Yeah.
Ghana, countries like Ghana, didn't go through that type of struggle. They went through the whole British oppression, but then once they got, there wasn't a after the British left and they got independence, Now they had issues with that social issues, that they, had to deal with, and that they're still having to deal with. So a lot of times I find here in Ghana is that they don't know what we went through in America. And when you sit down with them and begin to talk to them, like, every opportunity I get, I to talk to a Ghanaian about our experience, they don't know. They don't know what we went. They think that we were the ones that took their gold and went and running over to the United States. That's what some of them truly believe. They truly believe we left and we took their gold.
Wow.
Not realizing that we were the gold that was taken. We were the gold. We didn't take it. But that's because we don't know the history. So Ghana just 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I think it was, just put the transatlantic slave trade in their history books.
Wow.
So people from Ghana didn't even know why we were coming here. They're like, why are they coming over here? They're coming to take our land. They're coming to take it. Now they want citizenship. Don't give them citizenship. They foreigners. We had a lot of that. We still have a lot of that. I had a whole situation at the post office the other day. And the man started, and he was giving me horrible customer service. And when I called him on it, they always want to talk about cussing. It's always the Black Americans.
Wow.
There we go.
Wow.
That's what we do. So not everybody is going to love you everywhere you go in a Black country. Some people have a problem. Some people I just found out that sometimes I can get a little aggressive male drivers because of the type car that I'm driving in, and they see I'm a woman. So it's like, how did you get that car? You're a woman. Why are you driving in that? And I'm driving. So there can be sometimes a jealousy too. I didn't see that in South Africa, maybe because there's a little South Africa's climate is a little more upscale and more progressive than Ghana. Well, depending on where you live, because Accra is different than down here over here where we are. Elmina is just rural. So people have a rural way of thinking. Sometimes I think and we didn't stay there long enough to really get, really into the crux of living in South Africa. But from what I saw, moving around the different people, dealing with the different cultures of people, there was kind of a cohesiveness there.
What one thing I was very impressed with, and then even as you talked about Ghana, I did find there in South Africa that they're not totally aware of a lot of what we really went through during civil rights to a full extent. And I was very impressed when we went to Congressional Hill.
Yes.
Congressional Hill, how, we went through the prison there and we went through the jails and just the things that we experienced and seeing there. And then as we, our tour guide who was taking us through, and I must say she was excellent.
She was
very well versed, and you can just see the pride of of their struggle within her, that she felt good about talking about it, even in the most horrible sense of what we've been seeing, what they experienced.
Right.
And in that, it was a awakening for me. I knew that they went through, but when we went there to the there in the prison, and even how they were put in what was it?
Solitary confinement,
and just the different things and like a dungeon, you know, the different things that was put a place upon them, and how it was such a difference. If you were Black, you didn't even eat, you know, and it depending on your color or where you were from, you know,
you didn't get certain foods.
you didn't get certain foods.
Right.
And we know that to be true, even, you know, with our struggle here in the States. Whereas I was saying it, even as we spoke to, you know, the tour guide there, and then even when we went to the apartheid tour guide, you know, he was very, you know, well versed, and he really opened up, you know, a lot of things we learned. But they also didn't know a lot of things, because I saw so much of the similarity of what we both, you know, both countries went through. It was just like really similar in so many ways.
Right.
But one thing I was truly impressed upon with them is that with the apartheid, you know, the of what they accomplished, you know, like with Nelson Mandela. I mean, I have a total greater respect for that man, and even the struggle that they went through, but how they endured, but they did it in dignity. They did it in a way where they weren't just a puppet on a string. To an extent, Mandela had to, you know, because, you know, he had to divorce Wendy. Boy, I love Winnie Mandela. I mean,
yes, me too.
That woman, and listen, what she did was very powerful. That's why the Pride, when we were there in Soweto, I mean, they were like, hey, because they really went through the struggle. That's where it all began, there in Soweto. And I loved it. I loved it. And I love their, not only their you know, just the sense of pride within them. And even, I mean, I just loved it. I just loved everything in regards to that. But what I loved in the Congressional Hill was when we went into the court. You know, that wasn't the great, that's like the top court, you know. And then who we see who's in charge, who makes the laws, the decision. See, that's what makes, that's what I love, is that it's people of color who make the decisions. And you can see it, how it drizzled down to the people, where it is as a people for all, but you don't see that segregation like we see here. Or that elephant in the room. Everybody, oh, they're nice. And don't get me wrong, there's some white people I love. They're the sweetest people. But there is a whole lot where they just, you know, you know, but you know, it ain't the real deal. It ain't, you know. But you see there in Congregational Hill how she explained the judicial system, who are the judges. But you know what I loved about even how where in our courts here, the judge sits high and everybody's low.
Come on.
I loved how the people were high and the judges were low, because they understand who they serve. I love that. Oh, that was powerful to me.
Wasn't it awesome?
Powerful. And I mean, and not only did they know who they serve, but they are people of color, and they know the struggle, and they still in the fight, and they know they still got to fight, but they are moving in such a positive way where you can feel it, that is a real unity, and not a show that's not, you know, like it's like something, it ain't real. This is real. But I loved, I'll say it again, how the judges sit low, the people are up above, they look down to the judges to keep them humble, to know who they serve, and they're serving the people, and not that I'm above, because many of our judicial and everything, they think they are above us. And they can look down. I mean, I watch Judy and all of it make me sick. How, you serve the people. How dare you? I understand you're a judge, but I love how that judicial, and it ain't like they don't have the final say on things, but it keeps them humble to do the things that's right, that they don't feel like they're superior and they could just do, because it's not a true a good judicial system where it says the Lord, justice is blind. No, it's not. No, it's not. Not here. That's a lie. I don't care what they say. It ain't blind. It's very visible. Yes. And they show it. True. And they empower themselves.
Very much. Very much.
I love the fact of how that judicial system, the judges are low. I love it. I'm going to say it again. And the people sit high because they know who they serve, and they're going to do the right thing. They're going to serve the justice. And these are people who have been in the struggle themselves, and they make the decision. It ain't like we got President Obama. I love all of that, but he was just a puppet. He ain't make the decisions.
No, he didn't. And we really need to know that.
Who's making all the decisions? Come on now. Come on.
Absolutely.
I'll say this is white America, and it'll always be until the Most High make, it is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is. And I'm not saying Africa, you got people white and everything, but people believe that it's all one people. They say that here, that this isn't. No, it ain't. It's a lie. It's with segregation. It's still segregated. They still see you as what they see you as, and you can say all you want. You can do all the voting and all of this stuff. Who we got in office right now? Anyway, who they got in office? Because he ain't my president. Now, if they take me off of the,
that's what everybody is saying. He ain't my president.
We gonna get shut down.
Even the people who voted for him are saying he ain't my president.
That's why I'm looking at doing dual citizenship.
Man, I'm telling you,
that's with South Africa. I don't know about no other country, but I love it. I love South Africa.
I'm trying to bring up the video, share the video. Let me go here and see if I can share it from here with that. It's not letting me do it. Can y'all see it?
No, I'm showing up.
Okay, let me do this. Okay. No, it just put another. Let me see if I can bring it from videos. Take a local video. Let me put it down here. Put it. Okay. Because I really would like for y'all to see what she was talking about when they say the people are the ones that sit higher up than the judges.
Yes, right.
The judges and everybody, they sit on a lower area, and the people's chairs are sitting up higher, and they're sitting up higher because they said it's the people who run the country. This is a democracy, and it's the people. It is not, the judges and everything. They are there, and it makes it real clear. The judges are there to bring forth the law. They are supposed to rightly divide the law, period. They represent the written law. And the people are the ones that is the most, it's supposed to be done. Everything is supposed to be done in those courtrooms on behalf of the people. So I just, I thought I'd be able to do it. But anyway, It's not letting me do it because I was trying to put it up as a local video, but maybe desktop. There it is. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay. Now I think you have to, Christina. You may have to.
Oh, okay.
Each white protein is unique.
The cows
So we
represent
are continuing with the
everyone
theme.
is
Remember
unique.
the theme? African justice under
but everyone is
Transparency.
important, even in their
Justice.
uniqueness.
under a tree. Oh, please do, man. Out there we've replicated the sun outside because we are settling this matter. And then we've got the gray hangings in the tree trunk right over there.
Under a tree or the tree?
Either or. I'm not sure which is the proper English word. I almost hear some A, others say the. Carpets being
Yes,
shadows.
justice under the tree.
And the glass ribbon down there is the transparency.
Yeah, see, the judges sit right back down here,
I
and
don't know
these
if you've
little
noticed
chairs
that
back
they
here.
reuse the
But
old bricks.
see how these
Yes, we
chairs
saw
here,
that.
Bricks are being reused within the inner chamber. And they end up to the point behind the flag. In other words, we were violated until 1994. Wow. After 1994, the brick formation is different.
It is. Look at that.
Beautifully done.
and those
So
bricks
you've got the judges,
come
you've got
from,
the law students below the judges,
the
you've got the
prison.
respondents on these two central tables. Those are the applicants. Over here would be the public. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to mention this. I love Judge Judy. I watch her on TV. Oh.
I don't love Jim Judy.
But the sitting arrangement is different from Judge Judy here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then she started to get into the seating arrangement. As you can see, the judges are all positioned lower than the people are elevated because the judges are just there to invoke the law, the letter of the law.
That's right.
And the people are there to be esteemed above them because it's about the people. It's not about the judges. That was really, really powerful. And as she was such a great orator. She was just a great tour guide. And you remember the gentleman who toured us around in the apartheid museum. He wasn't even on. He was leaving.
He was leaving, and
That's right.
And
he saw us, and he said, "I will take you." And he did that whole tour.
The whole tour.
Y'all, he wasn't getting paid. Now, which one of us would do that?
Nobody.
We'd be looking at somebody like,
You better ask.
That shows you the pride that they have for their country, and what they have accomplished.
yes.
I want to show you. I don't want you to, I want you to get the full understanding, the full justice
Right.
of what our
It was
struggle
amazing.
was.
Absolutely.
That's someone who takes pride in the struggle
Right.
and want you to be abreast and be educated to know. I loved it. I'm telling
No,
you.
he said you all came all this way.
That's right.
I'm going to take you.
Right.
I'm going to take. And he told the woman inside in the booth. He said, "No, I'll take them," because they said, "Oh no, it's not. This is not the time for you have to just do a walkthrough. This is not time for a tour guide." And he heard that, and he was like, "Oh, Y'all came all this way. I'm going to take it.
That's
I
right.
will take it. I'm getting off, but that's okay. I'm going to take you through.
That's right.
And he didn't go around and just, okay, we're not going to go over there.
Right.
It's a beat. No.
He wasn't trying to hurry up and push us through.
Nope.
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing. Okay, so now we're talking about,
who in the states here, because everybody want to get paid. Who in the states?
we will be asking overtime. You're gonna give me some overtime. Okay.
For real.
If you ain't overtime, I ain't doing it.
Right.
Now, what were some of the things that we didn't know about South Africa and epiphanies that we had while we were there? I didn't know that South Africa was as large as it is.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that was good.
We flew, we had to fly because first I said, let's rent a car. We can rent a car and drive from Johannesburg to Cape Town. No, my husband was like, 19 hours? I'm not doing that. So then we said, okay, let's fly. We'll fly to Cape Town. So that's what we did. And then when we got down, my epiphany was when we got all the way down to where the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, I didn't realize that right over that span of water is Antarctica. That big,
I didn't know
huge
that. You knew that, Tina?
landmass of ice.
I didn't.
I did. I had no idea.
Antarctica,
I didn't
really?
I did not
Antarctica.
realize that.
I was like, my father, Antarctica's right over there. I mean, it's over a good amount of water, but still, that's the next landmass over. I was like, wow. Look how far down we are. South Africa is a huge country. It really is.
Yeah.
And then look at all the mountains we went through to get all the way down to where the water is.
Yes.
The
Wasn't that
mountains,
a beautiful ride?
was really amazing to me. And I think Tina took that picture. I kind of copied. That went as I was driving, right?
Yep.
And you took the picture, Tina, of that mountain. It looks just like it's not even real.
For real.
Is that it looked like somebody painted it.
Yes.
And that's exactly how it looked. Like I tell people, like, you would think like that's exactly how it looked. It didn't look real. It looked like a picture.
Yeah.
I didn't think
mountains were mountains I have never seen look like. I've been all throughout this country. I've been some mountains. I've been to Jamaica. I've seen some mountains.
It looks like somebody painted
there in South Africa and Cape Town, and as we all it through the mountain, I've never seen mountains look like. Oh my God,
they look like they're painted.
Yeah,
like
painted. I've
From
never seen mountains like that. And Table Mountain,
Airbnb
had like a oh my gosh,
it did. It looked like a portrait.
It did.
Portrait.
Yeah.
That was never seen mountains like that. And we drove right through them, so it wasn't like we drove through them. We drove around them, so it was like we were on the mountains, and it was like, whoa,
right?
Man, look at this, look at that, look at man.
We were like little kids. Woo.
Right.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, that was amazing.
Because Ghana had beautiful scenery, but South Africa, I don't know. It was like movie majestic.
Yes.
Very majestic, very regal scenery.
I agree. And that's another thing that I'm glad you said that, because comparing the two countries, Ghana is beautiful, but it's all overgrown. Just everything is overgrown. But in South Africa, it's everything is it's everything is eye candy. You know, it's just it's manicured. That's the thing. And that's one of the things I don't like about Ghana is that it's not. I'm like, clean up your area. Why does your field have to be all just grass up to here? Just, it's just a lot. Oh,
in the roads in South Africa, I could drive. I mean, the roads were phenomenal.
Yeah, they everything is so manicured. The fields, the farms, the as you're driving through. Now, when we were going to Plansburg, a safari, some places, you know, the grass did get a little higher because we were going into the safari area. But for the most part, it's a very well manicured country. And they've done a really good job in taking that Western model, and people can talk all that trash they want to, say what you want to say. Look, if you want to live out in an African village and just everybody in, you know, you in huts and grass huts and playing around with cows
near in South Africa, that's how big it is. There is that there, you know.
Absolutely, you can do that, absolutely. But I like that they've taken the Western model and they put attractions and stores and everything that a neighborhood would need to flourish. And then they build the neighborhoods all around it. That's something that I miss from the States, that you can get out and you can find something. You don't have to go here. I was just telling Prophet Deborah, I'm looking for cinnamon. There's no cinnamon in Cape Coast.
Really?
In Elmina.
What?
I can't find cinnamon. But this is a thing. You might not be able to find cheese. Don't make no macaroni and cheese today because there's no cheese in Cape Coast. So you got to go drive an hour and a half to Takoradi to a supermarket. There's no supermarkets in the area. So what South Africa has done is taken that Western model and put all of their everything, their infrastructure, because that's part of your infrastructure, are your roads, your water, your lights, your stores, your shops where people can go and get stuff. And then you build your neighborhoods around that. So what Ghana has done, they kind of just build neighborhoods. They just build, they just have villages and build, you know, people come and they do developments and everything. But I don't know, you know, they have little shopping markets and stuff like that, but you can't always find what you're looking for in those markets. So you have to drive 5 hours to Accra from here to get to Accra to go to a supermarket, or an hour and a half the other way, Takoradi, to get to a supermarket. So that's one of the things that I also do like about South Africa, is that you can drive 15 minutes or 10 minutes and get to a grocery store. If that's not, you know, or you can walk, right? And they have walking, and you can walk. It's a little harder to walk here because everything's just so overgrown. Personally, I used to get out and run here, but I'm a little afraid because everything's so overgrown. Snakes can come out from the field. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So I stopped because, you know, I'm fearful of that. So, but there in South Africa, you have sidewalks. You have the streets you don't have the gutters, wide open gutters that, you know, are really smelly. You don't have those. So they've done their infrastructure of their sewer system that's under the different cities and the towns. And they've done that throughout. And I do not agree that it's like that because there are white people there.
Right. But you know what? I do
want
to.
I'm sorry. Because the black people were part of. It was a man who was very much like Benjamin Banneker in Washington, D.C., who set up and was the civil servant who set up the entire city of Washington, D.C. for war.
That's right.
With all those circles. It was a black man. I can't remember his name, but the guy in the Apartheid Museum told us about him. He was the civil engineer that formed, set up South Africa, Johannesburg. So it wasn't because of white people that they had that it's like that. And so that's something I want to debunk. That's not true, because the black people were definitely had hands on in their the progress of the city and their country.
Something I want to bring out, because we talked about the different and the beauty of a lot of things, but I do want to bring out Yatesville. We weren't there in Yatesville much, and it was by accidents, I think, that we even went through.
Oh
Yatesville.
yeah.
And I mean, that's the hood.
Right.
And see, I don't back away from the hood. I was raised in the hood. I love my people. I don't care where, but I'm glad that we did kind of drive through. Mm-hmm. And truth be told, I'm gonna tell you, I saw some shops there and stuff. I kind of wanted to stop and go into some of them shops there in Yatesville. You know what I mean? I mean, they had the building. We saw the people hanging out, and and it was just like the hood right here in the States. Remind me, maybe the South Bronx. Different places that you find. So I don't want nobody to think like, oh, it ain't no hoods. And then we saw like a big field, like a park, like grass, where there were homeless people. You remember you seen all the homeless people who were there, but they were all there, however, we didn't really get out to walk around. I'm like I said, if I had an opportunity, I would have just liked to just kind of, because I like to go in all areas, I do. That's just me. And then the guy, our Uber driver, he just said it's not really so safe there,
He did.
That's what he said. So we have to realize that there's ghetto, there's, it ain't like everything is all upscale and all of that. They got but they got buildings, they got, and then we seen where, I think we were in Soweto, and then also I seen the area there in Johannesburg where it looked like metal containers where people lived.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, they looked like metal containers.
Yeah,
that was their home, and they had a community there.
Yep.
So there we saw, and we seen how and even as we were driving down to the there from Cape. From Cape Town, as we went all the way down there to the water, we passed some areas where they had those kind of in the water, their water thing was on the top of the right on top of the containers. They look just like metal containers.
Yes.
But people have it, and that's their home.
That's
they have a community, and they still, that's not like they're like, oh, and they doggy dog, but they were proud, some of them have it, it's fixed up, however. So I just said, even in the areas, and then when we, like I said, in Yatesville, there were like, we saw like projects, like you see in a sense.
Yeah.
And you see the different, but you see selling stuff outside, that they're doing their business. And man, I saw they do hair. They had all those hair shops where they were ready to do it. So we see all of that. Kind of remind me of old 125th Street years ago.
Yes. Yes.
So Jamaica. Like, that kind of bring back memories, Jamaica. Back in the day. I kind of wanted to kind of go and check it out, But and maybe I will when I go back.
It does, and there's some parts over here we'll drive through and say, this looks like how Jamaica Avenue used to look.
Yeah.
Sutton Boulevard.
Jamaica Avenue, that's another location. Yeah.
But so I think it's important for people to understand that part. that there are many parts, and also I was looking at some homes and apartments and stuff, and Soweto is really, really nice.
Wow.
I mean, beautiful homes. We didn't get to drive. We didn't drive all up.
Mabel said they had some beautiful homes in Soweto. She told us that.
She didn't even lie, because I was out on YouTube, some YouTube channels, and people were riding through those neighborhoods in Soweto. Those homes are beautiful, and on top of it, Soweto is one of the lowest crime areas in.
That's what Mabel said too.
They said
One of the lowest crime, and that's Soweto is where is heavily populated. Black, Zulu, and Sosa.
Yep.
So the people, or Black Africans, South Africans. So don't believe the hype, because some people go around talking about. I was even looking at places, Welcome, and different places, because some places have gotten a bad rap, and because they might have thieves or robbers or burglaries or something in the area, they don't want to tell you that they have those in Santon.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, look at all
They
of
don't tell you that.
Look at all of guarded. What is it?
Yes. We lock up the neighborhood.
Of the neighborhood
Remember when we got out there
after hours.
the neighborhood was shut down. Like, what? No, we can't even get back into our place. We were driving around all over the place trying to get back into the neighborhood just so that we can get Airbnb. But so that tells you, if you got doing all of that, something is going on. You doing all of that. So
That's right.
So when I look at places in like Soweto, man, nice. Glendale, oh my goodness. Some of those places were people will say, "Oh yeah, you don't want to live there," but it's like, okay, but they have crime all over. Wherever you go in the world,
You're gonna
you're gonna have some crime. So we shouldn't mistake that.
Right.
So y'all ready to move on to the comparisons? Comparisons and similarities of the people of South Africa and other countries we visited.
Well, I think we said it. I think in Ghana, it's the same. They care for their elders.
Mhm.
So I saw that in Ghana, very respectable to this day. The young people really respect. So that comparison. And I mean, even the nature scene, but again, it's just like you said, South Africa is very majestic. But Ghana, is beautiful with the trees and all the terrain. But
the trees and the plantain trees and all the fruit trees. But it's just, Ghana is just, different because when we went to Nairobi, when we went to Kenya, Kenya looks very different from South Africa. And there was a lot of commerce, a lot of movement. Oh man, Nairobi is the place. I mean, they have an area that's about, I think they said 220. I can't remember the square that they say, which is their ghetto area. He has to work on that area. Out they go into one area, other areas is raised.
yeah,
But the people, the same attitude, just want to do. Yes, let me help you. Let me do this. Oh, come on. We wanted to do a day the gentlewoman came over. She said, "We don't usually do that. Usually you have to get your visa before you get here." And I said, "Well, we're going to be here." We wanted to just be able to see the country, see this man. That's all we had to say. You want to see our city? We getting ready to show you our city. And man, she took us over to immigration, went and talked to that immigration officer, and he said, "Tell them to give me $20 US each, and we'll give them a day visa." And that's what we did. And we got a day visa. They took us down to a little travel guide. The guy got us a hotel room, a ride, a tour, and it was a nice tour van. It was only two of us, and it was private, and it was just two of us, and it was like we were riding around in like a presidential van.
Wow.
And I was like, "Where else y'all want to go? You want to stop somewhere else? You need to stop at the store. You want to go over here? You want to go well, let's go over to." I mean, it was amazing, but the same spirit of
Yeah.
you know, just wanting that. In Egypt, we told our hotel Airbnb host, and he said, "What you do? Tell me what you want, and I'll have a tour ready for you tomorrow." That morning we got up. He said, "Mrs. Byers, I have your stuff all planned now. So on Tuesday you're going to do this. Then Wednesday you're going to do this. Thursday you're going to do this. Then you're going to do this. And when are you going down to?" Because we were sailing down, or going to fly down to Aswan, Luxor, and then we were doing the cruise from Luxor, the Nile cruise from Luxor down to Aswan, and go to the Nubian village. It was amazing. He set all of that up, but we didn't have to do anything.
That's
anything.
great. That's great.
And it's just, that's all over Africa, where we've been, the countries we've been to, is people have that common theme. "Oh, you have come to see my country? Oh, let me
Right.
make it happen.
Beautiful.
Make this happen." Now, they really put out there. People kind of make Egypt look like, "Oh, well, they're Indian, or they're from, Turkish, so they don't really treat us well." We didn't get any of that. We didn't feel any negative, anything like that. I mean, I even got compliments from women. "Oh my gosh, I love your hair. Oh, you are so beautiful. Oh, my queen, my king, my king, my queen." We'd be walking down the street. So, I'm just saying, maybe other people have gotten other things.
I know.
But see,
Yes.
from our experience, we were treated really
Right. Beautiful.
And that's a common theme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is. And I think places like, now one thing Ghana has versus, okay, the places that we went to, the apartheid, but in Ghana, me and my husband talk about that. Those slave dungeons.
Yeah.
I don't think anything in the world will be able to compare to the slave dungeons.
I agree.
I don't, because the energy is still there. The
Absolutely.
smell is still there. And even though we were in the jails and stuff, I could feel it, but it was not in comparison to the slave
Dungeons.
the dungeons process. Like, you got to, like, I think that's like a rite of passage for African Americans.
Yes.
You need
Every
to go.
Black
I
American,
really want to go there.
Black American, every Black European,
Yes.
if your hind parts is Black and you are of the descendants of the transatlantic slave trade, you need to get over here to Ghana and do that tour, and to do the last bath.
Yeah.
Just walking through that.
Yes, I would
Going
too.
to the last bath. I mean, there is Tina's right, an energy that you feel there. You can go, when you go into those slave dungeons, you literally can feel the tension and the anxiety and the feeling of just I don't know, just confusion, scared, not knowing what's going to happen, with you. In some places, there's 4 inches of human remains, skin, feces, all kinds of human, what do you call it? Human body.
Yeah. Skin, hair, period. I hate to be graphic, but
because the ladies would have their period and they would have a bucket over there and they wouldn't change those buckets. They weren't clean with them. The only time those women got cleaned was when one of those slave masters, the commander, would come up on that in that balcony and look down and see a little black sister that he wanted to sleep with. That's the only time they got cleaned up. And then they got cleaned up before they got ready to go on the slave ship. Yeah, and cleaning up is like putting you down in some water, an underground river. You get down there, dash yourself off. You come out and you're put on the shackled and chained and put on the slave ship. Every person who your descendants came through the transatlantic slave trade, you need to come to Ghana and do that tour. And you know what? We can hook you up. We can take you over there and give you a tour, but you better hurry up because we'd have to fly back up to help you, to give you some help on it. But it needs to be seen.
Yeah, I want to experience that. Yeah.
You need to
look forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the food between, even if you travel to like the islands and stuff, their food is good. It really is. Like, it's just,
it tastes food.
Yeah, that's where we get from.
Because you'll say, oh, this is what beef is really supposed to taste like. That's what we said. Oh, this is what chicken is really supposed to. Man, we be hearing KFC. We just had KFC tonight.
Really?
KFC is off the charts here. KFC is horrible in the United States. We didn't even eat at KFC.
No,
do
not.
KFC because it's real chicken. Because it's real bird, y'all.
Yeah.
It's real. The hamburgers down in here. Burger King. McDonald's isn't in Ghana, but Burger King is. Every time we go to Accra, we got to stop at Burger King because the hamburgers are real hamburger. They're real beef. Grass-fed animals. Right. And down in McDonald's, remember in South Africa, all of the meat is halal.
I was like,
meat is like, they don't play that. They do not. And let me tell you, everything. I mean, I dropped a Pringle on the floor and ants was all over it. I was saying, hallelujah, I can eat some Pringles. If the insects ain't eating it, I'm not going to eat
it. That's it. You're right.
I turned around and looked, and them ants was all over that Pringle. I said, oh, that's real. These Pringles over here is real.
They tasted different because I'll eat from here, and when I ate them in South Africa, I was like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah. Yep.
Potato chips. I don't know how that.
And the chips, the Lays, none of all of that stuff that comes from that is on the continent. It has to meet their FDA approval.
Right.
It has
to. Right.
And they do not accept all of that stuff, those dyes and all of those chemicals. Yeah. Sometimes, you're looking at the back of the thing, it's like, what is this? Google, what is, and all these scientific terms, you don't even know what it is. But here, You get a bag of Lay's potato chips, and it's got 3
Right.
Ingredients.
potato, salt. Oh, it does have ascorbic acid to preserve it.
Right.
But that's pretty much it. And oil. That's it.
Yep. That's sad.
They don't allow all that stuff because they try them to allow genetically modified seeds here. Now they have brought some in. So first Ghana was like, no, 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 no. But I guess, you can, Lord have mercy. They got seedless grapes.
Oh.
So now we have seedless grapes in Ghana. So I don't buy them. I buy seeded. And they'll have seedless. Some of their oranges are seedless. So they are starting to accept some things. I'm just, but those things like that, but the food, the chicken, the food period is wonderful on the continent. Yeah. I haven't gone anywhere in Africa where the food was not banging. I mean, really, really good. Because they're not really, I don't know what they feeding. People in the United States. I don't know what that is.
Sad. One guy put in the comments on the South African video, he was like, I thought they put preservatives to make it taste good. So he was talking about Coke. I was like, poor little lamb. You have no idea what they are doing to us.
The Cokes are different. The Coke ingredients are different. You can taste the difference in Coke, Pepsi, because they have to make it differently, y'all. They have to make it differently when it's coming to the continent. And Europe too. Europe don't have that mess. Europe doesn't have food either. No, they don't. They don't. And then let me tell you, Saudi Arabia and EU, oh my goodness, you can just flat out. Now you have to be a little careful if you're Hebrew with the shellfish because they'll eat anything that crawl out the ocean. But so far as their food is concerned, we get marshmallows here, and all their marshmallows are. We just found some that had not bovine gelatin, or either they're made with bovine gelatin or fish gelatin. So like it'll be a clean fish though. So you have to be careful, or vegetable gelatin. So if they have the Arabic writing on it, they're clean. You can eat the marshmallows here. But you can't eat no marshmallows too much in the United States. You have to find
unless you go. Sad to say, you got to get either the vegan, whole market kind, or kosher, the kosher. That's the only marshmallows you could eat here.
They have them. They have them here. We have to go to Accra to get them, or Takoradi, but they are definitely kosher here. So the food thing, the comparison,
even the gelatins, you can't get any of the Jello. You got to get Jellos, gelatins.
And I haven't seen much Jello here. They have pudding, but not gelatin. So I haven't seen that here. Okay, so let's talk about the y'all have anything else about visiting, when you visited other countries, comparison to or similarities to South Africa? Because even if you've been to Jamaica, the island
in Jamaica, and Jamaica, I can't say that they were very. The only ones who were really accommodating, people who I was there with, I'm not going to say, it's been many years since I've been to Jamaica, but when I went there, you have some people there accommodating, but I find that, just doing things just to be just out of kindness. It's like they want something. You know what I mean? It's like they're selling something. And you understand that they're trying to make a living.
Right.
Yes.
This is years ago. I don't, it's
Okay.
been many years since I've been, but
Same way, my sister-in-law visits often because her husband is from there,
it's
and she
not
said,
it's not like it's not like Africa to me. No.
"Yeah, yeah, yeah." Africa is just a different. It's
Yeah, they're very, and even look, even when I went the nail salon, perfect example. I mean, I've never experienced my hands, the salon that young lady did on my hands. I have never ever experienced, and I'm a nail person. I've been to so many different, and I've had some great experience, but nothing that was like a hand spa. And that was what she did was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I've never experienced, even with the warm. Oh, it was just wonderful. It was wonderful. It was truly a hand spa.
and
Now,
you can get everything there, even with the threading.
yeah,
Even the threading, you can get the threading done there. So sometimes people don't realize that stuff. And here in I have a place, a lady I go to when I'm in Accra that does the threading. Now nobody does it here in Elmina or Cape Coast, but when I go to Accra, there's a couple of shops that have that technique. So
yeah, I
just
get
what
it done at the mall. You can find it at the mall. The threading here in
Mhm.
in the States, but
In the States,
that
but
young lady did my hands with the towels and the soaking and all. I mean, the whole thing was just phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
okay. So now these stereotypes and how they affect our decision to
Mm.
travel to Africa or travel internationally at all. I hear a lot of fear, especially, white people don't have that fear, because I remember young people saying, yeah, my mom and dad gave me a trip to Europe after I graduated from high school. And I'm like, that was like a big thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they were 18 years old, going traveling somewhere, getting on a plane and traveling to a foreign country. Do, 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 do. That's how we had this emboldening afraid. Where did we get that from? Being so, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't know where we got. And it's probably I do know that's part of the curse, where it says you'll be afraid hearing a shaken leaf. That's what Deuteronomy 28 says. You'll see a shaken leaf, and it'll make you afraid. You're afraid in the morning. You're afraid in the evening. You're saying in the morning, oh, that it was evening, and in the evening you say, oh, that it was morning. That fear factor that's on our people, and it is on our people so heavy that we are afraid and we're scared to travel, not just to Africa, but afraid to travel anywhere. But a lot of times it seems we're okay with traveling like to Europe.
Yeah.
I hear that, and I've never really been afraid. I was traveling from 8, 9 years old on the subway and going there at different places. I mean, just traveling. I don't know. I never really, and just like even here in New York, like people like from the Bronx, they don't go to Brooklyn, and people from Brooklyn, they don't go.
Yeah. I'll go to Manhattan. Yeah.
I went everywhere. I went everywhere.
We did
Did
too.
it everywhere, and I just travel. And I've always was one to travel. I get on a plane. I just never really had. And even the subways, like some people, they only know one way of traveling, and if that subway don't whatever, they're lost. They don't know. I've always ventured out. I never had a problem getting lost because I would find my
Right.
way, and I
Right.
never had those fear. People are fearful.
Beautiful.
I'll get lost. Oh, how can you? I just never had those. I don't know. I just never
No,
had those fears.
no, I haven't had that either. And I remember talking to a very good friend of mine who is very fearful about getting on a plane and about going anywhere. And she said to me, "So you and James were over in Egypt. What was that all about?" I said,
What?
People are like
"Oh,
that.
wow, we're traveling. We want to see the world." I tell people all the time, there's one thing that I always knew from a little kid was that I wanted to see the world,
Yeah.
that I wanted to travel, that I wanted to ride in a gondola in Venice or in Italy.
Yeah,
I want to see the Great Wall of China. I
right.
wanted to
Want to.
see
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Indian Ocean, where the Indian Ocean
right.
and the Atlantic Ocean
Yeah,
meet.
eat.
So
Yeah,
I want to see the Bering Straits and the Rock of Gibraltar. I want to see the great mountains and cliffs of Scotland. And
yeah.
I don't care that there's white people there. I don't know what's wrong with people.
I
White
knew
people
that
the
was
world.
never
They're
fair.
all over the world.
I
I
go
don't
around any kind of people.
bother me. I
Don't.
want to see the world. Our God made this world for his people to
That's
enjoy. And I want to enjoy it. I want to see everything I can possibly
Right.
see.
Just like we went to Europe, like Tina and I, that was our layover. And I told Tina, I said, we can take the train. Tina was like, you just, and she was looking at me like, I said, well, let me go ask these people. And she was like, did I not? We went and we traveled everywhere, on the subway, on the train. I don't have a problem asking, sir, can you let me know where? Because we were like, I'm not going to ask them. Why not? Why not? I'm not going to just go like, oh, well, I'm not going to ask. I don't know. I'll just stay here. No, I'm going to ask. And what happened? We got help everywhere we went, right, Tina?
You really did.
Train, we got on the Queen subway. I mean, and then one man, when we were coming back, he even gave me a map. Now I said, oh, now you done gave me a map, and I got the world, baby. Yeah.
It was like that when we went to Europe and we rode the subway through all these really quaint on the train through all these quaint little towns in outside of London. And it was just, just to get the opportunity. And people helped us. And they were white. People helped us too. I think we become so afraid and so closed in.
But it was wonderful to see. We saw the police when we was there at the changing of the guards. It was black police officers. They were there and they looked good, weren't they? Good. They looked good, didn't they, team?
Yeah.
And even on the subway, I said, well, let go off. I went over there, running my mouth. Oh yeah, I was, I loved it. Yeah, I love to see our people in places,
Absolutely.
It makes me feel good. I love it.
It does.
Yeah.
It feels good to just be able to go and experience.
Yeah.
But it's something, it's not what I'm realizing is not just Black Americans, because I've talked to Ghanaians who say, yeah, I'm not interested in travel. I don't want to travel nowhere. I don't want to go anywhere. And one young man said that to me, and I said, no, don't ever say that. I said, if you get the opportunity to go and see this beautiful world, see another country, see another continent, take it, go and experience other people and that's how we get stagnant. And that's how we get in a place where nothing is moving.
Yep.
Because other people, you never know, you might go somewhere and get an idea of something and see how others solve problems or what they do in their communities that maybe you can even bring back and say, hey, we could do this. And this works for them over in, but
Yep.
we as people, sometimes we can get really closed off in our thought processes and feel like, no, we got it all. So like we hear that a lot here. We've been doing this for thousands of years, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I think
Yes,
it's
thousands of years you want to keep doing it the same way. You
Right.
never want to evolve. So that means you driving in a car,
Mhm.
you're not in a horse and buggy anymore. You're not right. Come on.
And they think it's dangerous. I know when we go to South Africa, that's what it. Y'all think y'all should go over there right now? Everywhere is dangerous in Africa, but if you go to Europe, and we know they've been off the chain in Europe. I'm sorry,
Yes, they have.
like, and some
Yes, they have.
really dirty. I'm sorry, like,
Come on. Come
let's
on.
be real. So that's another thing, like going to Africa specifically, everybody is so afraid of
Oh,
going
so
to Africa. And I'm just like, man, it's 2026 now. We cannot keep that same rhetoric up. You need to go.
stereotype.
No.
Somebody gonna grab you over there.
That's what,
Somebody-
yeah.
Well, I'm hearing people now, Sherrod and I are going to, it's just for a few days to Mexico, Cancun.
Yeah, I want to go.
Resort. And they were like, "Do you think?" I don't know. I said,
Right.
we're going, and we're going to be in an all-inclusive, resort. And then even the traveling there, they have a travel thing that they're going. I got the voucher where they come and they're in uniform and they tell you who's going to come and pick you up and everything. We just can't be,
And
Egypt. The scripture said, he didn't give us a spirit of fear. Y'all didn't give us a spirit of fear,
but you know what? And two, you have to be wise. Hello?
No, you always got to be watchful.
Don't go out in no little village by yourself.
No.
Sir, why would you do that by yourself? And we have Ghanaian brothers over here that will tell you, fool, don't do that. What? You've been there. You're a stranger. You are a stranger here. And one of our brothers, you'll end up with your head in a coffin with a chief. You better stay out of those villages.
Wow.
Be wise.
That's like coming to Cabrini Green in Chicago when you get off the plane from Dubai and you pick the projects to come into to visit. But when we go to Africa, we always want to go up in the villages. That's equivalent to going to the projects. I'm not down and I'm saying I grew up. Look, I raised my children in Gary, Indiana, honey.
I know what you're saying. I know, but you got to be wise.
Don't go that by yourself anyway. If
You don't go by yourself.
you
have a Ghanaian person with you or a native person with you. You have a tour. We did walk around in Egypt because our hotel was like right smack in the middle of Cairo.
Right.
It was amazing. Cairo is amazing. And I just wanted to get out there and stay out in the streets the whole time. And my poor husband, he had just gotten over malaria. So he was tired, poor thing, because malaria zaps your energy. He had just gotten over it like 3 weeks ago. So he was like really tired. He was like, honey, I think I'm ready to go back. And I said, okay, you can go back to the room and I'm going to come back out. And I'm just, he said, I ain't about to let you go out here in these streets. Are you crazy? I'm not going to let you go out in these streets by yourself. He said, all of these Egyptian men looking at you, talking about some queen smiling. No, you're not. No. He said, come on, where else you want to go? We'll just go ahead. I'll suck it up and we'll go ahead. And we did. We walked around and did some more things. And then we went on back to the hotel. But you have to be wise. you
Yeah.
know,
Be
because
wild.
everybody knows one thing is true, that we stand out. We stand out as Americans because and we a lot of times, don't speak the language. And in Egypt, nobody speaks English hardly. That's why you have to have a tour guide in Egypt. But they speak Arabic, and they have to go and find somebody who might speak English to help you, if because we needed help getting somewhere one time. But we kind of stand out because we're louder.
Yeah.
We talk louder than other people around the world. We don't realize, but Ghanaians, they talk loud when they're talking to each other.
Each other.
Maybe, just in their own
Well,
language.
Tina
And
said
they
we're
talk
loud.
loud.
She's not
We whole dear movie.
as loud as we are.
Right.
That-
Because
We're loud rappers.
when you
That's a
walk,
New York thing. I think it's a New York or North.
yeah, I think it is.
That
too.
we were loud. She said,
And I was thinking
that
about
we were
that.
loud. We kind of
I was
embarrassed her a little
that.
bit. You know?
I was thinking about that the other day, how loud we do talk. Because you walk into a place here in Ghana, and you won't hear people talking very loud, and they might say, and I was like, did they say something? I can't even hear you. One young lady, I was like, are you whispering? You. And then she tried to say it louder, and it was the same volume. I was like, "Ooh, y'all need to turn it up a little bit." I said,
We be around the subway. I told people, I worked in the subway.
talk to your friends, like when you talk to your friends. But when they're talking to each other, they will talk, a little louder. But I realized, yeah, we talk probably louder than most people around. And like when we went into that technical shop, and I was like, that little,
like, do y'all
what
know
you
how loud y'all are?
that plug. And I was like, how you gonna charge me? Wait,
Y'all both started.
wait a minute. How you gonna charge me all of that? She just got he was like, "Ma'am, that's because that's the price." I said, no, that's not the right price, because you can't.
Look, Tina. Then she said, well, how come hers? I said, don't you do that. You gonna give me.
I know. I said, how come hers gone? That was like, and then he looked at the guy. He was like, "How much did you charge her for that?"
I said, don't you already know me? Well, we go change it up on me.
And then she just get ready to change. You felt like you was going to change the price. She was like, wait 1 minute. Don't be changing up.
Whoa.
It was funny.
We had a little gangster in us.
Yeah, tag team me and like this. Okay. Oh my y'all.
Well, I think that really comes from when you do live in New York, because you're doing that haggle thing. And now I'm in Ghana, and Ghana, they be haggling back and forth and haggling. And I'm like, no, I ain't about to give you that much for that little thing. And they'll be like, Mom, come back. Nope, you have lost my business forever. I'm not gonna buy anything from you. So they
very dramatic. We're very
we are very dramatic. And they'll be sitting there and they'll be like,
we know a get over when somebody's trying to get over.
Oh. And it's so funny when they're like,
right.
Because I had a whole post office thing, where I went postal in the post office the other day. And I'm like, it's like my daddy came out. My father was a calm person, and he was a preacher. And my father didn't bother nobody. But when you got on his nerves and trying to get over on him, he would go from 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds flat. And I tell you, Horace Lee Cutter Senior came out of me at that post office together. Sir, we ain't about to do this. Because let me tell you, and then when I started slapping on that counter, he was like, look. The man came out the other side. He was like, oh.
Is that
I was like, it's too late. It's too late. I'm up here. It's too late. Sir, it's too late. Don't try to be nice now because you were ugly. Don't mistreat me. Don't treat me like that. And then he starts saying, see, you Black Americans. I was like, oh, buddy, it's on now. It's on now. Now you got a problem, but you like our money, though. You want our Black American money, though, don't you?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, but it's funny because they were all, oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Yeah. Oh. So we can get very, and I think that comes from being so mishandled and misused, and oppressed in the United States. People don't understand what we went through when you couldn't even look a white person in the eye and speak to them. Now, we were raised up in New Jersey. So when we went to the South, my mother and father had to tell us certain things because we were New Jersey kids. We were Northerners. And when we would go down, they would want to make sure, at that time, we got 8 head of kids. We want to make sure we take all 8 back with us because we don't want no, Emmett Till situation up in here, because it was very much when we went to the South to visit our relatives in the South that it was very different when we went there. And I remember my father telling us that he stopped somewhere on the way up from Savannah back to New York to get a cup of coffee. And the white man came out and said, come around the back. Come on. My father said, what did you say? He said, yeah, I can't serve you right here. Come around the back. My father said he got in that car. He said, yeah, sir, that's okay. Keep your coffee. He put his foot in that gas tank, and his foot didn't come out that gas tank until he crossed that Mason-Dixon line. Yeah. And went into New York, into Washington. That's when his foot came off the gas pedal, because he was like, these folks down here. And like I said, my father, oh Lord, he was a calm man. He didn't bother nobody. But when you pushed that button, the right one, oh yeah, you just don't want to do that. So we very much have been, when we get to a place and somebody does misuse us. When that young man started saying they always come in here talking about customer service. And Ghana has a problem with not knowing how to treat customers. So they are now working on that. We even saw where some companies are hiring in Accra and said Ghanaians need not to apply.
Wow.
Because they don't know how to give people customer service. Because you say, well, this broke and I'm bringing it back. Don't do that. We don't do that. We don't give refunds. You don't get no money back. And that would be the attitude. Yeah. So now they're trying to get to a place where they're teaching their people, no, customer service is a thing. You have to give people good customer service. And so when he started saying it's always the Black Americans talking about customer service, I said, And then he went on to say Yeah, but you get mistreated over there, and then you come running over here. Sir, I need for you to talk
Wow.
about what you about.
Those them fighting words.
On those
And they don't realize that. That's not something you should say to us. So I said to him, y'all the ones sold us into slavery. Don't go there. I will give you a whole history lesson.
South Africa.
Yeah.
South Africa, excellent customer service.
Absolutely.
For the most
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna tell you, Ghana has a bad rep. They have gotten a bad reputation, but I have to say they have been working on it because people have been complaining and saying you don't know how to treat customers. You don't know how to treat people. And you don't just start talking bad and then going into your language and then talking to somebody else all in your language, people have had their cell phone snatched or taken, and everybody come guard, and that's something that they'll do. If they see that people have some kind of issue going on, they'll all come gather around, and then everybody will have their opinion. And one gentleman said a young man took his phone, and he went after the young man got his phone, and people started saying, "Oh, give him the phone. He probably needs it." Child, nobody give anybody nothing. What kind of foolishness is that? But that's the mentality that we were dealing with when you come here. So they have been, I have to say, they have been working on that because the customer service was really, they really needed help in that area, that you don't talk to a customer like that. But so that comparison between, I can see in Ghana opposed to Africa, there was definitely, because I didn't experience any of that. Even when we had like a little conflict at getting rental car, those people were like on it. They were like, wait, we're getting ready to work this out. Madam, have a seat. We're getting ready to get you a car.
Yeah.
And it was my fault. It was my fault. And remember when I ordered that food and I didn't have oyster sauce in it? And I said, and I went back to the table and y'all say, yeah, they wouldn't do that in the States. And I said, I know they won't. And I went back over there and I said, I don't want anybody to get in trouble. I said, so just give that food to somebody else. I paid for it already. I'll pay for another plate of something. And the gentleman had already said, no, madam, that's okay. They're already fixing you another plate. It's okay. And I was like, thank you so much. Thank you. Because I know he didn't have to do that.
Right.
So there's those differences in that I can see when you're dealing with people in business here. And that's not saying everybody, because I've gone to businesses here and got wonderful customer service in Ghana. And the people were rich, and I still go to them. I get a smile when I go in there. They're helpful. If something happens, my husband has a plumber down the street. That man will come down here. If James says, I need you to come and something's going on underneath the sink, that man will come and do work. And sometimes the gentleman, James, will say, he won't even take anything. Wow. So everybody is about money grab. But that's that beauty in Africa. That's that servanthood that I love. It's just, and even you're trying to give them something. They're like, no, that was a small thing. No, small. That's okay. You don't have to give me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah.
So that's a stereotype and I think it's a stereotype too, that all Africans don't like Black.
Yeah.
Americans.
Well, you know what? But listen to this. The
You have
mechanic,
an attitude, but
Tina know the
that's
mechanic. The mechanic, you know the mechanic. What's his name?
Oh, yeah,
Jason.
yeah, Jason.
He ain't too fond of Africans. He said, and I was telling him that they were really. He said, yeah. He said, I hear what you're saying. He said they might be like, but they change when they come here.
I've heard that so many times.
I dealt with Africans when we lived in New York.
He said they
They
change
didn't
when they come here. But
said they didn't like black people.
area who I love dearly, but yeah.
But that's not all of them, because I also dealt with some Africans while I was in the States in
Right.
New York that
Yeah.
were beautiful.
Some of who are part of our ministry, we have quite a few beautiful people. Yes.
Yeah. I think it's a stereotype. You know, it's true. Once you cross over into America, it's a different world. And in order to be able to move about, it's like you have to step on people to get to where you want to go. And
Right.
I'm sure, but we've heard that with all groups, the Asians.
Right. Right.
We've heard
Yes.
again, if you sit and talk personally, one of a good friend of she was from India, Pakistan, and we became really close. And those stereotypes that they had heard about us were broken through our personal relationship. And the Most High had to break even my religious dogma. I'm like, oh, she's Muslim. I can't be friends with her. I can't.
That happened to me.
That was so terrible of me. And they were such a great couple to me and my husband, and they gave us a blessing before they moved back to Pakistan. And people like blessing, they spoke over us and they said, we love you because you are a people of your word.
Of your word. That's awesome. I worked with a young lady
tells us
who
that
was
we love our neighbor as ourselves. It didn't specify what people,
right.
Oh, it's this. No, that's not true.
Yeah,
and we're to let our light shine, you know? Yeah.
Right. Well, I worked with a young lady who was Muslim. And Hanadi, I'm telling you, she said we used to sit and talk. And she would tell me how you know, the Quran was taken from, which I knew that already, from the Torah. There was the Quran quotes the Torah.
Yeah.
And sees Mashiach as a righteous prophet, a righteous man. Now we know that he's more than that, but I can respect that they respect that. And I remember she came to me before she the funding ran out on her research, and so she had to leave our laboratory, our department. But she was saying, Alvita, would you please come? I teach our youth group at the mosque. She said, would you please come? She said, you are very knowledgeable in the Torah. She said, would you come and teach our young people?
Wow.
So I was like,
wow. See?
Wow. I didn't back down. I mean, I was like, yes, absolutely. I said, you set it up, Hanadi, I'll be there. And you know what? I was going to go in there, whatever way they needed me to dress, I was going to go on in there and I was going to share the Torah, what the Torah said, whatever it is she wanted me to share. But then she got moved because her funding ran out from her research. But she was a beautiful soul. And I mean, she said to me one time, she said, you know, she said, I trust you more than I trust those Christians. And she said that, and I was like, I said, Hanadi, they don't know. They don't know that the Bible, the first 5 books of the Bible is the Torah. They don't know. No, most Christians don't know that. And so I explained to her the differences and how that separation came into play. But we would have the greatest conversations. I think we are going to miss out on many wonderful relationships in life doing that, separating people out and putting people in categories and boxes.
That's right.
True.
And that's one of the things that I love about South Africa, is they've stopped doing that.
Yep.
They're no longer they're working on that black, colored, white.
Yeah.
They're working on that.
Yeah.
And all I can say is progress. Progress through it. But you got to start somewhere, United States of America. You got to start somewhere.
So true.
Progress through it. First of all, you got to do like the Torah says in Leviticus. Own it. You got to own it. There's a guilt offering and a sin offering. They are exactly alike. Why? Because when you sin, you're guilty. You have to admit guilt when you sin. That's why they are exactly alike.
Yeah.
But when you want to walk around and act like, oh no, we didn't do anything. Oh, slavery was legal. They don't want to admit it.
Unless it's evil.
They admit they did wrong to a whole lot of people. And bringing up that congressional hall, remember they said that in that hall they only deal with human crimes against humanity.
Oh yeah,
that's right.
Human rights issues.
That's right. That's what they deal with. That's right.
That's where that goes.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. I was very impressed with that.
I was very much so. Yes.
Tour was just amazing. And the women's prison. We went into the women's prison. And the women's prison where the women were held. And the thing that was just something, I mean, the woman talked about how they stripped them naked and how they made them, oh my gosh, I just can't even, how they stuck things up in their anus and vaginal areas, trying to see if they had some kind of weapon or whatever, that it was just so demeaning to them that when they called them back to be able to do interviews, they had to go to them to do the interviews, but only 2 returned because it was too painful. It was too painful.
Mm-hmm.
That. So those places were, yeah. So finally, our big takeaway. What was y'all big takeaway, and how did you feel after you returned home from it? And that's gonna take us to the end.
Okay. Well, my big takeaway was, don't believe what people say, especially comparing it to the West. That was a really big, because, when you go, people say, oh, it's white people there, all of that. So when I got there, experiencing it for myself in the history, I was like, don't you ever, even your husband attested to that, go in there with a preconceived notion about the country based upon what you heard on social media and things of that nature, and how going there changed his mindset. So it changed your mindset when you go and visit for yourself. And like I said, it's not for everybody. So you may go personally not like it, but I went with preconceived notions. I'm like, no, let me go see for myself. And I was blown away at the experience. So my takeaway will forever be go. And I know this is controversial. I know we in a war, but even with, I don't know when it's going to be safe to go, but even with places like Israel, before it got really changed, like people talking and saying, but I want to go for myself to see
myself. Yes.
I don't want to hear what you're saying. Let me go and talk to the people, talk to the
talk to the people who have traveled in and see for myself. So that's a really big controversial place that a lot of us probably wouldn't want to go to. But when things calm down, if it ever calms down, I want to go for myself. That is what South Africa taught me. Go for yourself.
Go for yourself.
My big takeaway. It's hard to really say. The whole experience.
It was amazing.
The whole experience. I can't just, if right now to pinpoint one specific. I mean, I agree with what Tina said. You know, I totally agree with that. But my takeaway, my experience was just amazing. You know, one of the big things, you know, I enjoyed everything, but one of the most, outside of even traveling, was when we were there in Cape Town, and this particular morning, well, you know, the morning, you know, just getting up, and I had the coffee, and I sat there at the table, and you know, we had that big picturette window, and just looking at Table Mountain that morning was just phenomenal. Seeing the cloud, and then it moved off, and just, it was just like, I don't know. I could have sat there. It was just, to me, a spiritual moment.
Yes.
I can truly say, I can't say how Mount, you know, Mount, you know, as we think about our forefathers at the
Mount
foot of
Sinai.
Sinai. But to me, it was a Mount Sinai experience for me.
Yeah.
That I was just in awe. That particular, it was just, and then just being able to just sit there from just where we're the residents of where we're at, and just experience that, and just watching, it was just, it was, like I said, I don't know how Mount, but just Table Mountain right there, and it was right in plain view, you know, right where right there, we had the, like, it was right there in front of us, and I mean, it was just phenomenal. That was my, you know, Cape Town. I love Cape Town, and just even how Cape Town was surrounded around, because see, something, you know, Johannesburg was a lot of hills. It was very hilly. You know, very hilly. Most everywhere we went, we had to go down a hill, go up a hill, you know. But Cape Town, to me, was like we were in a village area, you know, like it was beautiful, and we were surrounded around mountains. That the way the mountain, how it was, that flat, it was just amazing to me. And then to find out that on the other end of that mountain is the water.
Yes.
You know, how you just go around, because it's surrounded around water. It is, you know, a coast.
Yeah.
But normally you would see water, but it's a mountain before you go to the water.
Right.
That's just blown me away. And then how it's surrounded around this mountain. It's just, to me, was majestic. Cape Town was majestic. That was like my pivotal, my mountaintop experience. That was just, to me, and it was spiritual. It was just, I was just in awe. That's all.
Yeah. Wow.
For me, yeah.
Yes. Well, I think both of what you all just said was my experience also. Oh my goodness. You know, I always say that when we moved from New York and then to Washington and back down to North Carolina, I always said North Carolina was such a beautiful state because you can go to the shore
Yes.
or
Or to,
you can go into the mountains.
that's true.
And I always said, man, this is a perfect and the weather when it would be hot, it might be 90 degrees during the day. But then when you get that cool breeze that comes down in
I
the
love that in
afternoon,
North Carolina.
evening, it's just like, oh man, this is awesome. Just the feel. And that's how I felt in South Africa.
Yeah.
That the
Yeah.
the all the diversity
The
of the land
diversity. Yes.
of the land and how it was just so picturesque. I mean, even when we were driving I can't tell y'all how much I love that drive from Cape Town down to Cape Agulhas. That was just amazing, going through those villages and seeing different people. Some of them were really built up, beautiful homes, and others were medium kind of homes. Some were
Phenomenal.
with
Yes.
not as, but they were nice. Everybody's places were built to where you had different economic statuses going down there, so you were able to see the real people, and people were friendly, and just people, it just was that was just really amazing. But I think that was my really big takeaway, was how you could be a country could have all of it, because it's huge.
It is
All
huge.
of it.
And I'm glad.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned, I didn't want to cut you off, but what you mentioned, because like with me, like people like, oh, you drive to New York, I'll drive anywhere. But driving is therapeutic for me. And to me, it's like my time with the Most High. And even I don't mind even going by myself. They'll say, oh, you traveled all of there and you went by yourself. And I said, yeah, I'll be with me, But I'll say this, that driving there from Cape Town down to the water and back, that was very pivotal. I truly enjoyed that. And even on driving on the other side and all, not even had that experience like that.
Right.
But it was just,
you did a great job.
I loved it through the mountains and through the valleys.
Man.
Side, it was just amazing. That was really, I would say that was truly my pivotal. Yeah.
It really,
right.
I'm telling you, that whole experience, I'm so glad, because remember, we had to make a choice on whether we would go to Robben Island or if we would go on down to the Indian Ocean, where Cape Agulhas. And we were so glad that we chose to go to Cape Agulhas, even though when we go back down there, we're going to definitely get over to Robben Island, because that's
that one for sure.
That but I love the idea, my takeaway was how how things can look when a people, that you don't have to give up your dignity, your culture, to progress and move into things that are modern and of the future. In South Africa, they have their culture. We went into Soweto and the guys were dressed in their garments, and they were doing their, and singing and doing their tribal dance. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. I love that about Ghana too, that you don't have to lose your culture to modernize.
Right.
Your culture can remain intact, but you modernize, that you build, and that you make things conducive to good, healthy living. And it's important for us to do that. And as a people, we can sometimes, like I said, get stagnant in our thoughts, and sometimes even think, because I've heard, African people say, Black Americans don't have a culture. Oh, we do. We definitely have a culture. We definitely have a culture. And it's okay for us to, because we don't ask anyone else to change their culture when they come into the United States. The United States is a melting pot. And when Ghanaians come into the United States, guess what they do? They be beating their fufu, eating their food that they used to eating. They go and they come all together. They move into their little neighborhoods where they can have community and they can still speak their language. Yep. And it's the same way when we are Black Americans and we come to these different countries, and people want us, yes, to saturate ourselves in their culture, not realizing we already have a culture. We really do. We really do. And we can be a very close-knit community because of our struggle. Yeah. Because no one else can identify with that Black American experience like a Black American. You can read about it. Trevor Noah talked about that. And even South American, who can identify with that South American experience being Black other than South Americans, Blacks? Yeah. We have to, that's the thing that
Southern Black
to different countries, that I'm still an African American. I'm still one of those people, only 5 generations from where my grandmother, great-grandmother, great-great-grandmother, my great-great-grandmother was a slave. Yeah. So I still identify with that. I love, like I said before, I love that we say when someone sneezes, we say, God bless you. Yah bless you. The Lord bless you. We do that for a reason, because we had to build each other up, because we were being so oppressed and beat down and treated so horrible. We were close-knit. If somebody died, if somebody was sick, we would prepare food and go take it to them and say, girl, if you need me to take the kids to school for you tomorrow, you need for me. We just start jumping in. That's something they don't do. That's not a Ghana culture. They don't help each other like that. And I just found that out, that it's very different here. And because they didn't have that experience, those are things that make us as Black Americans special. That's our culture, because we live it. And I often say, I don't know that I would have ever considered marrying a man other than a Black African American man, because that struggle is understood between the two of us. No other woman on the face of this earth, maybe can understand the struggle of our Black men in America. We just can't. Our husbands come home after a police stop, and we got to go in there and we got to do what? Help. We got to do damage control. We got to be able to soothe them. We have to be able to nurture them. because they've been brought to a place of that one from that one stop.
Yep.
They get brought to a place of degradation. Who else can nurture them like that? Nobody else can nurture them like that. We know that. So it's a little different when you get with people in other countries because they may not have that experience. But that's one thing that really made me think that we have a culture, we have a beautiful culture, and the countries that that we get to go into. Oh my goodness, I just love it because me and my husband are able to experience this culture, but then walk through and know, guess what? We have a culture too. So I want to tell all the African people who feel like Black Americans don't have culture because we were yanked off the land and we were just over there we were over there building a people, building and nurturing and loving on each other because we only had each other. So that was the big thought in my from that South Africa was a lot like that Black South African experience was a lot like our African experience because when they was in Soweto getting beat down and shot down by police officers, apartheid, and freedom fighters, they called them the same thing. Oliver Tambo, who fought, he was the catalyst. He was the one. We always talk about Nelson Mandela.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. He was. Was even
really?
Nelson Mandela's what was it?
Mentor.
Protege.
He was Nelson Mandela's mentor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he
and
was.
Nelson Mandela was just the face. They said they needed a face of the struggle. They needed a face of the revolution. And it was just like with Parks. They needed a face of the struggle. And they pushed the Parks out there. Because there was another Black woman that the same thing happened to.
Same thing, and they didn't use her. Yeah, that's true.
Use her because she wasn't married. She was a single mother. They didn't want to put that. But Rosa Parks fit the bill. Nelson Mandela fit the bill. And that's who they pushed up. Tambo was the one that came up with that. We need a face of the struggle.
Right.
And once the guys started going out and getting put in prison, they got him out of South Africa, and he became the voice. He became the voice of the struggle of the apartheid regime and all of its atrocities and its crimes against humanity in South Africa. And that he died a year. What was it? A year before?
Yeah.
The independence. Yeah.
And then was it 94 or was it 95?
It was 94.
When the apartheid regime was dismantled, and then Nelson Mandela was made the president of the new democratic system of South Africa. So that was special to me. Just learning about Oliver Tambo and his great, and how his name is not even mentioned, but the airport.
It was mentioned there in the apartheid. They did mention there.
It was, but it wasn't mentioned in our history back in the States.
We don't know that.
Not in the United States, but it was mentioned in the apartheid.
Nelson Mandela, and we heard Winnie Mandela. We heard the other freedom fighters, but we didn't hear about Oliver.
Desmond Tutu and all of that, yeah.
Desmond Tutu we heard about, but we didn't hear about Tambo. But the airport is International Airport is named.
His name is the airport is named after him.
He was a huge figure.
Yes,
he was the of the
pillow of the beginning of the
Absolutely.
falling of apartheid. Yeah. Mhm.
Absolutely. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Well, anybody have anything else? You.
Uh, I mean,
Mm, that was good. That was good.
it
That
was
was good.
good. Yeah.
I think so too. That was a great trip.
Yeah.
That was a great trip. And yes, that was life changing. I
It
have to
was.
say, life changing. Even
Yeah.
though when we visited the dungeons here,
Right.
it's
That was
definitely life
that
changing. The last bath, that was life changing. But
was
South Africa was also life changing.
was
Walking through that fort, the old fort, and those prison,
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
jails, and walking through the women's prison and the
Yeah.
apartheid museum and
Right. And the
oh.
Nelson and Winnie's house there in
Winnie's
Soweto.
house
That
and
was
what she
in that
do
little box,
to keep her
that little
children
box where they had to build a wall because just to
wall,
protect them from.
to keep her children safe.
She had to be in there for a whole year. She was under house arrest in that little box. That's all.
Yep.
That's tough.
With
That was
her
tough.
children.
With
With her
her
children.
children. That's
And they
right.
had to remember she built a wall up
That's what
in
I'm
that
talking about. That
area
wall.
so that they could sleep
Whole
behind that
box of
wall.
the
If
house.
they would
Yeah.
come in, the white apartheid, the police would come and shoot into the house.
That's right.
So they would put mattresses and stuff behind the wall so that they could not shoot. If they shot into
Yeah.
the window,
They wouldn't hit
it
them.
wouldn't hit her and the children.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, the struggle. That
That was
struggle was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that struggle. It was real.
It didn't break her spirit though.
right.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
Mm-mm.
His either. That was an amazing. They were that. It was just amazing learning about them and being able to share even with the tour guides.
Exactly. The struggle of our yeah.
Of our people.
Yeah.
Okay, my sisters.
You ready to end?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. I guess I'll start. I know we supposed to have been live. We checked. We're live. But if you missed the podcast, you can do it in past podcasts on our YouTube channel at The Righteous View and Hebraic Awakening. If you enjoy the topics and the discussions have helped you in any way, please remember to click like and subscribe and hit the notification button.
Yes.
Yes, please.
We want to encourage you to tune in on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here in the USA, right here for thought-provoking topics that will hopefully stimulate conversations that are sometimes hard or uncomfortable.
Absolutely. And we're here in Ghana at Ghana maybe time. That's what we call it. Greenwich Mean Time. Greenwich Mean Time at 10 p.m. So I know a lot of our folks are asleep, but sometimes they say, "Oh, I'm asleep." So I'll watch it the next day. So we appreciate y'all tuning in, and we want to say thank you to our viewers. And we look forward to another edition of The Righteous View. Everyone have a great evening and have a wonderful rest of your week. We're going to say good night.